7 a.m., and I'm standing at my kitchen window, heart pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears, watching the president of our HOA slide a shiny key into my front door, and it actually turns. This woman who's been terrorizing our neighborhood for months just opened my lock like she owns the place. She pushes the door open with that smug grin of someone who thinks they've finally won. But then my wife steps out of the hallway calm as stone, holding something that freezes the queen of the HOA in her tracks a federal arrest warrant. My name's Justin Roberts, and 6 months ago I thought I'd found paradise. My wife Tracy and I bought a home in Oakwood Heights, one of those cookie-cutter suburbs where lawns are trimmed to perfection and neighbors wave like they're auditioning for a commercial. We wanted peace predictability. Instead, we got Kelly Phillips, the HOA president, who thought her title made her royalty. The first time she introduced herself, she was all smiles, handing us a binder of rules thicker than my college textbooks. We maintain the highest property values through strict community standards, she said, and I, being the idiot new neighbor trying to fit in, nodded like that made sense. 3 days later came the first violation notice. Our mailbox was apparently tilted 2 inches off the approved angle. 2 inches. I fixed it figuring, hey, no big deal, let's not rock the boat. A week later, another notice our trash bins were out 12 hours too early. 12 hours. That's when I started realizing Kelly wasn't a stickler. She was a predator, and unfortunately my house had become her favorite hunting ground. At first it was laughable. Annoying, sure, but manageable. But then, one morning, I saw her outside, not with her clipboard, but with a ring of keys big enough to sink a ship. Each key had a tag with an address. My stomach dropped. She wasn't just snooping, she was testing locks, mine included. And when one almost worked, I swear I felt the blood drain out of my body. I turned to Tracy, ready to call the cops, but instead of panic, she pulled out her notebook. My wife, the paralegal, jotting down every detail like she'd done this 100 times. That night I heard scratching at the door. Not the wind, not a raccoon keys. I crept to the window and there she was, hunched over my lock with actual burglary tools. Kelly, the self-appointed guardian of community safety, was trying to break into my house like a common criminal. I called 911, but the dispatcher sounded like I was reporting a lost cat. By the time a patrol car circled the block, she'd vanished into the shadows. Tracy didn't freak out. She inspected the gouges in our doorframe with cold precision. "We're changing the locks tomorrow," she said. And sure enough, the next morning, Kelly came back with a locksmith she'd hired, waving a stack of official documents and claiming she had emergency powers to upgrade our locks for community safety. The locksmith looked nervous, but money talks, and he was about to drill when Tracy stepped outside, 5'6" but towering with sheer authority. "Sir, if you touch that lock, you'll be complicit in criminal destruction of property. I'm recording this entire interaction." The guy packed up his tools so fast he nearly tripped over himself. Kelly was furious, shouting about Emergency Authority Board procedures compliance, but she couldn't produce a single legal document. Just bluster and rage. Then came the words that chilled me. "Some families never recover from vindictive enforcement actions." She looked straight at me when she said it, and suddenly I realized this wasn't random harassment. It was personal. Later that night, Tracy showed me what she'd been digging up public record scraps of information that painted a picture. Kelly wasn't just Kelly Phillips. She was Kelly Patterson, sister of Tommy Patterson, a contractor I had cited 3 years ago for massive safety violations. His building collapsed during construction. Workers were injured. He went to prison, and 6 months later, he died there. That's when the doubts hit me. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if maybe Kelly was right. Had I been too harsh? Was I some vindictive inspector who ruined a man's life over a few code violations? The recording of my own voice threatening him played on a loop in my head, even though I never said those words. The thought haunted me. What if I was the villain in this story? For the first time I thought about giving in. Maybe moving away, maybe letting her win. Anything to stop this spiral. But Tracy wouldn't let me drown. She sat me down, looked me dead in the eye, and said, Justin, this isn't about you overstepping. Tommy Patterson was a fraud. Your report saved lives. Kelly's vendetta doesn't change that. And the fire in her voice lit something back in me. If my wife still believed in me, I had to believe in myself too. From there, things escalated into a full-blown war. Kelly started showing up with crews of people, cameras measuring tools paperwork designed to look official. She filed bogus complaints against me with the city, even tried to sue us for harassment. It was harassment turned systematic, like she'd built an entire campaign to destroy my career, my marriage, my life. And every time I thought I had the upper hand, she pushed harder. The breaking point came on a gray morning. 8 a.m. sharp. Kelly marched up our driveway with a crew that looked like a SWAT team for suburban tyranny. And this time, she had a brand new key. Not a random one from her collection, a copy of our actual lock code stolen from the locksmith operation she'd staged. She slid it in and turned it with a flourish, stepping into my house like she was conquering territory. I was frozen, heart hammering in my chest, watching the woman who'd tormented us for months finally cross the line. She was inside. This was it. But before I could move, before I could shout, Tracy emerged from the hallway. Calm, focused, holding a thick envelope with seals and signatures that screamed authority. "Kelly Patterson," she said, her voice slicing through the room. "This is your arrest warrant." The effect was instantaneous. Kelly froze. Literally, froze mid-step, 1 foot on my hardwood floor, 1 foot still outside. Her clipboard slipped from her hand, scattering papers. Her giant key ring clattered across the floor metal tags with the neighbors' addresses flashing in the light. For 15 full seconds, she didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared at the document like it was a gun pointed at her chest. You're just a paralegal," she whispered. Tracy stepped forward, eyes locked on her prey. "No, I'm a federal investigator, and you're under arrest for criminal harassment, stalking conspiracy, and interstate intimidation of federal witnesses." Behind Kelly, Officer Parker appeared her own husband, the cop who had looked the other way for months. But this time, he wasn't alone. 2 other officers flanked him. His voice cracked with exhaustion as he read Kelly her rights. I swear I saw his soul crumble as he snapped the cuffs on his wife's wrists. Neighbors poured out onto their porches, phones raised, recording every second. The mighty HOA president who ruled through fear. The woman who thought her master key gave her power over us all was now being led away in handcuffs, screaming about how I destroyed her family. And standing there watching the chaos unfold, I realized something I should have known from the start. She was never protecting our community, never upholding standards. She was just a bitter woman with a personal vendetta hiding behind the thin veil of HOA authority. When those keys hit the floor, it wasn't just metal clattering. It was every ounce of false power she thought she had shattering in front of everyone. And in that moment, I finally felt the weight lift off my chest. Sometimes the door you're so desperate to open is the one that locks you inside your own downfall.